Hello, everybody, and welcome to KC CHIROPulse broadcast brought to you by Kats Consultants, helping chiropractors keep the pulse on success. I'm Dr. Michael Perusich, and I'm joined with my good friend, Dr. Troy Fox. I'm giggling here a little bit because we were laughing a little bit before we got on camera. So, Troy and I have known each other for years and years and years, and so we were telling some old stories. So, anyway, Troy, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome.
Excited to be here. Excited to talk about chiropractic today, as usual. I mean, one of my favorite topics to talk about.
Absolutely.
And I get the emails, and we've been telling you guys email us. I'm getting more and more. And our email this week, very interesting one, because it's something we've kind of discussed over time. And kind of our position in the consulting world. But I had a person email me and actually, hey, Marty from Oklahoma, you know who you are because you emailed me. What's up, Marty? And I know Marty as well. Marty sent me this and he said, hey, aren't you guys like part of another consulting company? And something to do with David Kats. And I'm like, this would probably be a good question to answer today.
It's a great question. We hear that we hear this all the time. So
yeah,
most of you, especially if you're clients of ours, you know who Dr. David Kats is, and Dr. David Kats is, well, Dave's, I don't know, he's kind of considered the guru or almost the founder of modern chiropractic management consulting.
Right.
He started the original company, I think it was 82. Maybe 84, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And then you and I started working with Dave in the late 90s and worked with him for several years. And then, I don't know, about 6-7 years ago, Dave kind of came out of semi retirement. I don't think the guy will ever retire.
No.
And, he called me up and said, hey, what do you think about getting back into consulting, but taking it back to the days where we were really one-on-one with clients and really got to intimately know our clients and their practices? I'm like, Dave, that's a beautiful thing. Let's do it. And so we kind of, I don't want to say we resurrected Kats management because we're not Kats management. We completely retooled. We took the good stuff out of what we used to do and brought in the modern today relevant stuff, and kind of in some ways recreated the wheel, but we brought business principles, not marketing gimmicks, not motivational seminars, not big glitzy weekend seminars that you got to give up all your personal time for. We brought back real nuts and bolts business consulting to the profession, and our clients are blowing the doors off. It's been phenomenal. So it's been an amazing experience, and we just keep clipping along.
Yeah, we have a large group of other doctors. I say large if there's 5 or 6 of us, but there's several of those other doctors, and it's all doctors teaching doctors. Which that was the concept when Dr. Perusich called me up and he said, "Here's what we want to do." It was kind of like an episode of the movie The Blues Brothers. We're getting the band back together.
Get the band back together.
And when he said we're getting the band back together, I was like one of the guys that's like, I'm sweeping the floor in the restaurant, or and I'm like, oh, I don't know about that.
My
wife will kill me. But no, he called me and he said we're getting the band back together. And the one thing that struck me is he said, "Here's what we're going to do: doctors teaching doctors.
Period.
We want to make this all." Period. We don't need motivational speakers. We need doctors that can help other doctors achieve their wildest dreams in practice. And I went, I'm in immediately, because I'm like, that's exactly the type of consulting that I would want to receive. Yeah. Hey, every once in a while, it's good to get some motivation, but I don't need all motivation, because the problem is, the problem is I get motivation and it kind of wears off pretty quickly. But when I get good principles to grow my practice, it lasts forever. And so that was kind of the initial prospect of why we decided to be who we are. And I think we are, and you can talk to this, Dr. Perusich, I think we're distinctly different than anyone else out there in the consulting industry right now.
Well, I like to think that we are, in large part because of what you just said. We're doctors leading doctors. We also have been in practice, or still in practice, and we've been successful at it. And I think that's a huge component. Plus, we bring just a ton of general business experience to the table. We've not just been chiropractors all of our lives. We actually have, business related experience and degrees and those kind of things coming out of other professions prior to our journey in chiropractic. So I think we bring a very, very unique set of skills to the table for our members. And, we've been able to really kind of remodel and retool some of the old traditional ways of growing a practice and managing a practice. We kind of threw some of those traditional models, one being what I call the new patient model, where you're always scrambling every month to hit some arbitrary new patient goal so that you've got enough patients coming in the front door that you hopefully exceed the number going out the back door. And we totally retooled that into a different way of practicing. It's so much less stressful.
No more boats with holes. That's what I feel. That's what it is. You're constantly bailing water out of the boat, and it keeps filling back up, and you still feel like you're sinking because you are sinking.
You are, and you just hope you make it to shore before you completely sink before the end of the month. And then the next day you start all over again.
So we try to put a big tow rope on your sinking boat and drag you to shore so we can get you stable, and then teach you how to grow from there without that constant chase or a big hole in the bottom of the boat.
Yeah, we're that rubberized sealant that you see on TV all the time.
We got the Flex Seal on the screen.
Flex Seal, yeah, there you go.
That's awesome.
Big shout out to Flex Seal.
And I will say, as you started talking about this, I thought it was very interesting. So from David Kats, who, like you said, was really the pioneer, the guru that kind of started this from a consulting standpoint, when he saw the model that you envisioned, because I'm not going to take any credit for that. You pulled me in after the model was envisioned, said, hey, are you interested? So, I'd love to take credit for that. Not that I probably hadn't thought about things like that, but when you talked about the model and the way that you wanted to do things, I thought Dr. Kats' response was phenomenal. He sat there and he said, I want to say something about you, Dr. Perusich. You've really taken what I did and what I thought was quite the thing back in the 80s, and you've revolutionized it. And I thought, wow, when you hear that from a guy that really is the guru that created consulting, and then he talked about what you had created in your head about what the next level or the next step was to modernize this for 2020, 2021. That was a huge compliment, number one. And number two, I think it was a passing of the torch, quite frankly. I think it was one of those where you've done things beyond what Dr. Kats had imagined at his time. Now we've got new tools at our disposal, and you're very familiar with those.
Well, and it was a nice compliment.
Yeah.
And we have taken things to a new level. We have revolutionized, I believe, how chiropractors run their practices. And here's the number one thing that we've heard from doctors over the years. Coaching's great, but it just seems like at some point I get to the point where I kind of outgrow it. And we've created a model for practice management that you don't outgrow. It grows with you. And that's testament to a couple of things that we do. One of them is the fact that we are doctors. Another is the fact that we truly are one-on-one consulting. We're not sitting there on a consulting call with you with a checklist going, tell me your stats, tell me your new patient numbers, tell me your collection visit average. I mean, we're diving into different stuff in every practice, making sure that every stone is unturned every time we talk to you.
We do a little bit of detective work from that standpoint because we've been there and done that. Now, to allude to your point about outgrowing, a management group, we've both been there at one point in our practice. We've outgrown it to a point of where literally at this point now we're kind of like, okay, we're teaching everyone else how to do this and get to where we're at, but we don't have a next step to get to because there's nowhere else to go. So I love the concept that we challenge our doctors daily. And I'll tell you what, if you run out of challenges, we'll give you some new ones because we got a whole
bucket waiting to go.
Yeah, and most of this is on video, in written press that you can get a hold of. We've got stuff for you, and we will actually work your tail off if that's what you want. Now, if you need to take a breather when you get to what you think is the top of the mountain, fantastic.
Yeah, that's
But
fine
from a
too.
standpoint of long term, we're going to keep pushing you because it's a long ways up the mountain. You'll be
Right.
lucky if you get there in your lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I still sit back once in a while and marvel at all the tools that we've created. We've
Mm-hmm.
got the training videos, we got the doc talks, the crew calls for staff. We keep your staff trained, not just taught a procedure. We keep them
Mm-hmm.
trained. We've got all of our seminars, whether it's a virtual seminar or a face-to-face seminar. We've got our mastermind program, our mastermind retreats. We
Mm-hmm.
keep you on top of the mountain. And as the mountain grows, we still keep you on top of it.
Well, I love the way you said that because, but I love the fact the mountain just keeps getting taller and we keep growing and climbing higher.
We just keep growing.
And we also have the opportunity as well when you're, yeah. And as you're working with us, we also have the opportunity. If you're an in-person person that likes to come see us in person, we offer that opportunity. We also offer the seminars or the workshops that we work with you that are virtual, and then sometimes we offer hybrid. So let's say we're somewhere where you're like, I just can't make it that weekend or that day or whatever. You can still just jump on and join with us wherever you're at with your office staff.
Right.
So we make it so easy that because back in the day, we'd go to a seminar, which I loved. I went to Kansas City, I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wait to get there. And it was always fun to get there. But I tell you what, sometimes it was an uphill challenge. There were times when I'm like, I can't go this weekend. I'm so bummed out, or I can't go this week or whatever. Guess what? We've taken that obstacle out of the way.
Yeah. You don't have to miss it.
Nope.
If you can't be there at the live date, that's okay. It's recorded. It's in your library. You can watch it anytime you want. You can watch it over and over. You can ask us questions. You can interact with us. And it's funny. Everybody's kind of latched onto this idea of virtual seminars since the pandemic. We started doing them 3.5 years before the pandemic.
Right.
And they're a huge hit. And we still do the live in-person ones too.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this, though, because I think this is an important question. Why did we start doing virtual seminars 3.5 years before the pandemic? What's the answer?
Two big reasons. Number one, we study adult learning all the time and the principles of adult learning. And adult learning is way different than how you learned back in school. Adult learning has a very unique process to it. We don't have time to go into all of that. That's one reason. And number two, we kept hearing over and over, oh my gosh, I don't want to give up my Saturdays anymore. I don't want to pay my staff overtime to drag them to a seminar that they don't want to sit out all day. And then come Monday, none of us remember anything that we heard.
Yep.
We got a few things down on paper, and we never had any time during the seminar to come together and really figure out what we were hearing. It was just words thrown at us, and we walked away with a smile, but we woke up Sunday going, what just happened?
Yeah.
And you walk into practice on Monday and you're tired because you didn't have a whole weekend.
So if I heard you right, what you said is, one, we've compounded learning. We've made it easier to learn and better. And we listened to our clients when they said, we don't want to travel all the time. Now, there was some like me that I'm like, man, I love to do that stuff. I love to get in person. So what we did is replicated that experience that you can do on a virtual, add a live, and basically you sit at a table with your staff. We're going to have some breakout sessions during the day to where you're working with your staff, and guess who's there? We're there moving around through the group to help if you need assistance or you get stuck while you're working through something. So we create the same environment, whether it's virtual or whether we're there in person. That's why I said it's hybrid. You could do either one and you're still going to get the same experience, minus maybe me standing right over the top of you. But I can be right there across the screen from you helping you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, and then we've got our mastermind retreat, which I just think it's second to none. We call it a retreat because we go away to just a really quiet, amazing hotel in an amazing place, and we have an amazing time. And we use that as an opportunity to kind of get off the mouse wheel of chiropractic just a little bit and just work on ourselves and share success stories and really have some amazing camaraderie with each other along the way. And everybody walks away from that event just on cloud nine. It's so much fun. It's so energizing. You go back to practice and you can't wait for the next one.
I'm listening to this right now and I'm thinking, if I were in practice and I'm listening to you and I, which, we're so fun to listen to anyway. But if I'm
We
listening
think
to
so.
you, if I'm listening to you and I right now, I'm like sold. Well, I was sold with the different models. And then when you had the mastermind, there's my personal development. I'm like, holy cow, I get off the mouse wheel of chiropractic. I love how you said that. And I work a little bit on personal development with other chiropractors, other people that are like-minded, that understand me and get me. Now we're all going to work together on personal development. I'm sold. So my question is, how in the world do I do this? How do I start this process to actually find out about what I think is the best consulting program on the market by far?
Simple. KatsConsultants.com. Go to the website. The phone number's on there. You can call us. You'll immediately talk to Marissa, who's one of our principals in our company and one of the top CAs and CA trainers in the country, in my opinion. You can, if you don't want to call us,
I would say the top.
Yeah, she's sharp, and ask any of our clients about her. If you don't want to call us, you can email us. Our email's on there, info@katsconsultants.com. You can always email Troy, especially if you just have a question that you want to try to get on one of our podcasts, Troy@katsconsultants.com. You can also, on the front page of our website, there's a place where you can click to schedule an appointment. That goes right to my calendar. You can schedule with me. I'm more than happy to spend 30 minutes or so with you, and let's talk about your practice. Let's talk about what your needs are. If we're a fit and we can help you, great. We have an incredibly simple process to get started. All you have to do is say, hey, I want to get started. And we'll have you started within 24 hours, and we'll start picking your practice apart and find out what's going on. We don't even have we don't even do long-term contracts. That was another thing that we brought back. We don't do these big long-term contracts. Our concept is, if you like what we're doing and we're doing our job, then we're going to stay together for a long time. And if it's not a good fit and you don't want to do it anymore, okay, don't do it anymore. Or choose one of our subscription programs or something. I mean, we have so many options. It's crazy.
Right.
There's almost no excuse not to be involved and get the information that we're putting out, at least in some form.
I'm sure you just opened Pandora's box, because I guaranteed somebody's typing an email right now. What are your subscriptions? And we'll talk. We can't, we've only got so much time on each one of these. But hey, if you know what, a really great question, I'll just prompt you as listeners. If somebody wants to email and ask me about our subscription programs, we can kind of talk about how things have changed so much. We're not going to lock you into this long-term 7-year contract. That's not something we do. But what we do is try to help you, and we try to make it. We do. That's probably not very good English. Yeah, we try to help you from a standpoint of what's going to be best for you, your staff, and your practice. Exactly. And that is so important. So important.
And the other thing we hear all the time too, you just made me think of this, is we hear doctors say, I know coaching and consulting is a valuable thing, but gosh, I'm not in the mindset to want to change all my procedures. I don't want to change my techniques. I don't want to buy new equipment. I don't want to spend that kind of money on fancy marketing programs. Great. We don't want you to do any of that either. I don't care if you're an activator doctor, a Gonstead doctor, a diversified doctor. I'm not going to change your technique. I'm going to find out what therapies you offer in your clinic, and we're going to work around that. I'm not going to tell you to buy new equipment.
Yeah, we've been through that already. And for me personally, I went through that experience where I looked for a change to go to the next level. And not only did I sign up for something that was just shocking in the amount of money that I had to spend, then they wanted to change everything in my practice and wanted me to buy a bunch of their buddies' equipment and that sort of thing. Next thing you know, you're $70,000, $80,000 trying to figure out, what in the world did I just get myself into? That's not what we want to do.
Nope.
We want to help you.
Nope. So, and the closest we get to that is we have some strategic partners that we work with, where a lot of them will give you a discount on their stuff, whether it's equipment or compliance training or whatever. But we don't force you to do anything like that. If you want to do it, great. Most importantly, we're going to help you analyze whether or not you even need it. If you don't need it, we're not going to push you to do it. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many times I can think of 3 instances this last week where I talked doctors out of buying a piece of equipment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because sometimes you don't need it. We call it a fishing lure. The brightest,
shiny thing.
shiniest, and all of a sudden you're like, and it's, you're like, I'm hooked. I need this thing. And we're going, no,
No.
wave off.
No.
That is not a value-added service that has any kind of margin for you. So
Correct.
yeah, we'll talk you down off the mountain where sometimes you're thinking the next thing I need to do to help my practice is to throw money at it. No, sometimes that's actually not the answer.
Correct. Oftentimes it's not.
Yeah.
So, Trey, this is an awesome conversation.
Yeah. That was a great question.
I love talking about our history and kind of how we started this back, how we started the company, and what we learned over the many years that all of us have been in the consulting business. Because, oh my gosh, what do we collectively got? Like 90 years of consulting experience or something. I can't remember what the exact number is, but we've taken that experience and used it to kind of remodel how doctors run their practices, and it's working.
And effectively, what's interesting about that is that, like I talked about previously, 90% of our docs, if not more, but for sure 90%, came out of the pandemic with their foot on the gas. So we know our procedures work. And that's what I'm so happy about. It's not, well, maybe this will work for you. No, it'll work. You just have to listen to us.
We even have doctors that opened new clinics during the pandemic, and their new clinics are full.
Yep.
So, yep.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that brings us to a close for today.
Yeah.
So, Troy, good seeing you. Appreciate everybody being on the podcast today. Thanks for tuning in to KC CHIROPulse. Brought to you by Kats Consultants, helping you keep your pulse on success. Be sure to check us out at katsconsultants.com. And from all of us here at Kats Consultants, stay informed and well adjusted. We'll see you next time.